You have to stay in education for maybe 20 years before you can make a decent wage.
And also in Africa, of course, that is also the case, though, in that because a number of times I've interviewed some people that work in the educational sector. Then I usually maybe ask them, when you were growing up, how was the educational system? At the time, it was something that being a teacher was something that you need to be proud of because it wasn't very common. No? Also, looking at our culture, for you to be considered as a teacher in our culture is something of a high value because you can't give what you don't have. I mean, if you are giving, meaning you have. So somebody that have knowledge to give now is somebody that is of value in every traditional society, human society. So coming to a modern republican society, democracy, of course, it should also be valuable because somebody that is imparting knowledge into another person, it should be respected. It deserves the pay. Okay, maybe if you are looking at, I know you guys there will want to call us the third world. Okay, we accept that we are the third world. In the third world country, maybe we don't have money to pay the
Yeah,
teachers.
so-called third world, right.
Okay, so why in the United States they don't pay the teacher enough to be able to encourage them to come more? Okay, in this case, we are looking at the African American as a demography.
To be honest with you, I mean, I could go into my own conspiracy theories, but I think it's all a part of the whole structure of our society. You know, particularly in these communities, I don't know if we're meant to thrive. Because again, if you start making education a priority as far as budgets and paying teachers, you will see a vast improvement. But it's my opinion that a lot of times societies need a lower class. They need a society or communities to feed off of. If you understand what I'm saying, I don't think that, you know, the powers that be always want people that come from these communities to rise up. It's almost better or more beneficial to them to keep them down.
When we make a comparison between New Jersey, New York, Washington District, maybe California, are there differences in this area, or is it something that is peculiar to your geographical part of the country?
No, it's definitely something that's happening, you know, particularly in the urban areas across the country. But, you know, ironically, right now, because of the pandemic that we are going through, we're in times now where teachers can actually negotiate more salaries than they had in the past because there's a shortage of teachers, and teachers are needed more now than they have been in many years. So it's actually kind of different right now because of the shortage. But typically, again, like I said, teachers, you know, as far as budgets and priority haven't been that high on the totem pole. But right now it actually is because of the pandemic. I mean, it's like that in a lot of sectors because there are a lot of positions open. However, there are not a lot of people to fill them right now.
All right, I'm going to touch something that I find to be interesting to me. I'm somebody, an African in the diaspora, so I care about African in the diaspora also.
Sure.
A number of times that I've interviewed some African American or African in the diaspora, I usually touch this area of education and African history because for us, this is important. It's very, very important. And you all are a principal of a school. How much effort do you place on the study of African history, in a sense that when the children finish from school, they should know about African history?
Well, personally, this is my second year as an administrator. However, it's always been a priority. It was a priority in my classroom, and it's a priority now that I'm an administrator. I mean, let's think about it for a moment. In schools, we learn about European history. We learn about the Roman Empire. We learn about the Greek philosophers and all of these different things. But when it comes to Africa, for whatever reason, they're left out of the equation. So I always make it a point as an educator to make sure that it's taught, not just, you know, African-American history, not just African history, but like you said, African diaspora. I know last year we did, you know, unfortunately it was relegated to Black History Month, but that was the point of our whole show, was to highlight African or Black achievements around the globe. Because a lot of times in education in schools, that's not done. We teach the same thing every year. It's Dr. King, it's Harriet Tubman, it's, you know, the same old things, but there's so much knowledge out there that, you know, that's being overlooked. And I make sure that as an educator, I don't do that. I make sure that I try to teach these students as much as possible about their history, not just the European history that's taught in the textbooks. Not that that's not valued, but it's only a fraction of the things that have happened in this world.
Thank you very much for that. That is highly appreciable because we need to do that.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, How do you gather the information you use to teach children about African history? Are you like, because in Africa, for example, I can give you an instance of Nigeria. I'm coming from Nigeria. Most of the books that we read in school are coming from Europe, written by European. Of course, when we are in school, we are told that the European discovered us. I'm not saying that
Sure.
we're not in Europe now, we're not in the United States, we are in Africa, in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Ivory Coast, in South Africa. This is what they are teaching us. So the question is, where do you get the information that you pass to the children? How do you gather this data?
And first of all, I'm glad you mentioned that, because a lot of times here, that's even a problem. When we speak about Africa, they almost speak about it like it's a country and not a continent. They just speak about Africa just as it's just one entity. It's not many countries and many cultures and many, different realms. It's all just Africa. But to answer your question, where do I get the information from? These are all lessons that I had to go out and seek on my own. I was able to find out about scholars like Dr. John Henrik Clark and, Anthony Browder, or, these people that actually teach our history. I read their books and I find out that there's just so much out there, and I'm still learning to this day. But as I get this information, like they say, each one teach one. What good is the information if it's just in between my ears? I have to make sure that I pass it on to students.
All right. And I'm trying to understand if there is a difference between when you were going to school and now that you are in, society is a very important structure. Somebody who wants to understand the society, you will see that it's a living thing. It's really a living thing. We are all part of the system. Either we are just in the cycle. Once you were in school learning, now you are in school, no longer like learning, but you are imparting because you have learned. So if you make a comparison between when you were going to school, there were a lot of people, not of your color, but you were there like a kind of an outcast almost.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of comparison would you make in terms of the knowledge that you were getting? Okay, now in this case, we can even say about Africa.
I think that now, fortunately, in this technological age that we're in, the knowledge is always at your fingertips. You just have to know the names and the things to just punch into your search engine. When I was in school, we had to go to the library, and even our library in the community, the books were probably 80% from a Eurocentric point of view. Nowadays, with Google and all of these, search engines, if you know the names of the people, you can find information at the push of a button. So what is the difference? I think that we're in an information age, and it's just so much easier to educate yourself now than it was then. I was relegated to whatever was taught in the classroom. There are a lot of students out there that are just learning things on their own because of technology.
All right. Now, because of technology and also because of the movement of people, because a lot of one thing that the immigration have also done, of course, even though the human history actually is a history of immigration, because we have been moved, otherwise everybody would be in Africa, but we have moved moved to Europe, moved to other parts of the world. That is why we begin to form different people in different parts of the world. So immigration is definitely an integral part of the human history. So because of the new wave of immigration, people coming from different part of Africa, different part of the world, coming along with their different reality, because people are not just coming empty-headed, no, they are coming with loads of everything, culture, experiences, love, hate, everything. So since in this case now we're trying to filter the information, no, it's not just everything come, we are looking for the specific one. In this case, we're looking for information that is relevant to the African reality. So in the United States, for example, you do have a lot of Africans that are coming there, no? They might be coming from Ghana, coming from Congo, coming from Nigeria, coming from South Africa. Have you had the time to maybe have a dialogue with them to see maybe what you learned when you were growing up and what is available in the society is exactly also what they are maybe coming into the country with, so that you can then sort of, I don't know, pass this information to the children?
Well, absolutely, because I think that, again, like you said, there are many people that come from Africa and come into these communities like Patterson. I've had the opportunity to meet people that come from Nigeria and people that come from Ghana and all of these places, and they pass on information about their culture. Again, going back to when I was a kid, I didn't have access. The only information I knew about Africa is what I saw on TV. And that is just a lot of time, that was just so limited. Nowadays, I do meet people from Africa, a lot. And again, I get into conversations and I'm able to see that there's just so much out there that I didn't know. And a lot of times these things are very extremely valuable.